Women on Wealth Money Book Club. So, first, just an introduction to those who are coming here for the first time. What is Women on Wealth? It's a women centric community where we help women take charge of their lives and their finances, especially. So, the online Money Book Club is a natural extension. It's a free platform by Women on Wealth, a safe space for women to come together to read, discuss, and learn about money. The books we read are related to personal finance, investing, financial habits, mindset building. And the purpose of the Women on Wealth Money Book Club is to spread financial awareness among women, one book at a time. So right now, we are currently reading the last chapter of Happy Money. So please do draw insights, read, discuss. And if Garima, if you are on your laptop and you have the PDF, can I invite you as, let me see if I can make you co-host.
Sure. Let me just quickly open it. I have the PDF, of course.
Right, that's lovely. And if anyone has already, wait, how do I make you co-host? I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, you're co-host now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So
give me a while. This is just I'm just opening the PDF.
Sure.
So you Sheetal sharing it for.
Yeah, I know. The thing is, my laptop is frozen, so I'm able to open it there. And it's only on my phone. So this is a Happy Money by Ken Honda, and today is the day that we have supposed to be sharing and discussing the last chapter. So maybe we'll read out the last chapter and then we can share insights, right? Yeah. So Garima, do you want to read?
Sure, I don't mind. Hi everyone. I hope everybody is having a good day. We're all, of course, thrilled. Sheetal, have fun on behalf of all of us.
Yes, I will.
Yes. Okay, so we'll start with the chapter. We'll start off with chapter 5, and then we'll have a discussion. Let me know when to stop.
Yeah.
The future of money. In this chapter, I want to explore the future of money, not just the future of your own money, but the future of money's role in our world. As our world changes, so too will our lives. The changes on the horizon are so amazing. They will no doubt defy the limits of your imaginations. But at the same time, they have the potential to cause a lot of emotional chaos. We also have to be realistic. The future holds some real challenges. In 30 years, there will likely be 10 billion people on the planet, and the demand for food is projected to increase by 70%. The ocean is filling up with plastic trash. Climate change is affecting sea levels in agriculture. We have a large elderly population to take care of, various health crises to address, and increasing energy demands to meet. Meanwhile, class strife and political tensions abound. Although we have our challenges, would you consider for a moment the world that we have inherited and the improvements we have made over the past 2 centuries? Many people live to be 80 years or older. Infections that used to be life threatening have largely been eradicated or contained. In most of the developed world, water isn't contaminated with cholera and parasites. The majority of countries live peacefully. We are not currently in the midst of a world war. And while war does exist and the potential for war is real in certain parts of the world, most countries rely on diplomacy to work out their differences. Advances in engineering and architecture have afforded us with homes and businesses that are climate controlled. Many of us in the developed world rarely have to suffer from the harsh elements. We're also using power more wisely and relying less and less on fossil fuels. And with one second, I hope this is better. And with all the advances in technology, we have more time than ever to spend entertaining ourselves and interacting with people outside of physical locations. Information that would have taken a considerable amount of time and energy to gather in the past now is literally at our fingertips in only seconds. We also have seemingly endless ways to pursue beauty, truth, meaning, and happiness. Perhaps we live in a moment of too many revolutions. Perhaps there are just too many breakthroughs and game-changing discoveries for us to process all at once. Perhaps with all this change, we are facing a different, though no less profound crisis, an existential one. We know so much about our world and how it works, perhaps more so than at any time, any other time in human history. But still, there are gaps in our understanding. And because of these gaps, we can feel like we are just an accident of physics, or that our individual lives inhabit an insignificant time scale, or that we simply don't matter. Life, when defined as nothing more than an accident, can leave us feeling unmoved, without purpose, and devoid of hope. At its worst, life can be reduced to nothing more than aging, loss, suffering, and death, punctuated by only brief momentary pleasures. And within the confines of this definition, we can feel confusion and envy. Why do some have so much and others so little? Why do some suffer endlessly and others seem to enjoy wealth, opportunity, fun, and joy? Despite all the advancements and improvements in our world, it is easy to stagnate, to feel despair, and to become overwhelmed by anxiety. So, how can anyone transform their despair and anxiety? How can we transform the tendency to say, what's the point? How can we transform the voice in us that says, you already made a mistake, don't bother trying again, just give up? This is the harmful scarcity based mindset that I have warned you about. The problem with it is it encourages us to betray what we could become in the future for the place where we are stuck at now. But we can transform our state from being when we decide to aim for something and commit ourselves to it. We can transform our lives when we decide to focus on gratitude and begin to act out of a sincere trust in life and the future. It doesn't matter if you were born into a tough situation or if you put yourself there. You are part of an unfolding story. And the good news is, you are the author of that story. And you get to determine the point of view. Your story can be a pursuit of happiness and a journey of adventure if you choose. A revolution of consciousness. 30 years ago, who could have imagined what internet would become? There hasn't been an information revolution like this since the printing press. People are starting to believe that the lecture halls of universities will soon be obsolete because lectures and audiobooks from the world's best professors and scientists can be shared with everyone. Artificial intelligence, AI, is starting to have a big impact in the world. So take a minute to understand it better if you don't already. AI, sometimes called machine intelligence, is basically a set of calculations that observes the world and learns how to maximize its success in achieving its goals. For example, if artificial intelligence is programmed into a bipedal robot trying to walk across a balance beam, the AI uses data gathered from previous failures as well as details about its surrounding environment to make self correcting adjustments so that it can successfully cross the beam. The machine has the capacity to learn and adapt. All kinds of things can be dramatically improved because of this. Artificial intelligence can do things like tell farmers which type of plants are best to plant. It is learning to identify early symptoms of diseases. It is creating new ways for companies to cut waste and improve supply chains. There is much to be said about AI, and I'm not an expert in the field, but it is important to have an understanding of what is possible because we don't want our future actions to be based on fear of the unknown. The Institute for the Future estimates that 85% of the jobs that will exist in 2030 don't even exist yet. However, AI is not going to make every job obsolete. In fact, it will create the need for a variety of new jobs. In addition to AI, there are all kinds of new industries that are exploring renewable energy and non toxic material. There are new strategies for removing plastic from the ocean on a massive scale. We are on the verge of being able to harvest and store enough solar and wind energy to power our homes and our cars. Even fusion energy is promising a future of abundant clean energy. This is important to keep in mind because so many of us have an apocalyptic vision of the future, and that fear will certainly affect your mindset negatively. In this chapter, I want you to stretch your own imagination regarding what is possible. what may be possible. How can we change ourselves and our mindset and our goals so that we can realize a future of maximum prosperity and happiness? AI is here and is already changing the way we live, and I believe it has the power to change our consciousness too. When we start to push the boundaries of what is possible in the physical realm, we can push the boundaries in the energetic realm as well. And we will ultimately push the boundaries of the way we think about the energetic quality of money and the role it will play in our lives. Future money. Our lives are the result of all the mistakes and achievements of human history. Ever since our species realized that we could turn a tree branch into a tool, our species has been carving that metamorphical tree branch into a spear. And today we have a very, very fine pointed spear. But how do we use it for the ultimate good? Well, you first have to aim at something. When you aim at what you aim at determines how the world unfolds before you. There is a lot of liberation in that truth. Think about it. If you decide to turn your gaze towards something, your reality becomes what you are looking at. Therefore, aim at the best thing you can think of. It isn't only a matter of our natural abilities or what tools we hold, because the all important variable is what we decide to aim at. I think that a happy future for the money will be one where the number of privileges in the society that do not cost money or are very affordable will greatly increase. Things that we deem essential for well being will be abundant, accessible, and inexpensive if not free. Education, communication, energy, quality food, and all kinds of opportunities won't be primarily based on the accumulation of money. That is already being demonstrated in the sharing economy. People are learning how to put things to greater use and how to share the gains. Money has not always been inextricably tied to our survival, and I don't think it'll always be. There is no doubt that money is useful, and we will always need a way of exchanging energy among ourselves. But money will gradually cease to feel like an energy that controls our destinies. I think that money can become something more like salt. There is a fantastic book called Turning Oil into Salt: Independence Through Fuel Choice by Gal Luft and Anne Corin, which is about creating alternative energy sources. The book draws the history of salt because for a long time, salt was the only way to preserve food so that you could survive through winter. This meant that salt was an all important resource. Societies knew exactly where the salt came from and how much they had in reserve, but its value in relation to other things. It was, in other words, their currency. But when canning, refrigeration, and other food preservation methods came about, salt suddenly became much less crucial. Salt is obviously still something that is needed and used today, but our survival through winter does not hinge on salt. And now salt is abundant and inexpensive. Oil is now like what salt used to be. Oil has a lot of value right now because we have no other option for powering our cars, planes, and ships. The control of oil is a cause of friction between nations, just like money is cause of friction between people. But slowly we are finding alternatives to the gasoline fueled engine, and eventually oil will go the way of salt. We will still use it for some things, but it will be abundant and inexpensive. I think money will eventually go the way that oil is destined to go. The point is not that we will live in a world free of money. We will live in a world free of fear of lack of money. That is a key difference. We're finally getting to a point in our collective consciousness when we are no longer linking money with freedom. We no longer need money to feel happy, safe, and free. We know this because we know that happiness, security, and personal autonomy is an inside job. And all it requires is that we be present and that we be engaged in the moment and that we use our time, talent to do what we love. Two different, two very different outlooks towards money in future. Where you are in your consciousness and development will affect your outlook on the future of money. It may be very pessimistic outlook or a very bright one. This is how I see the two. The optimistic abundant mindset sees all the jobs of the future: research, engineering, art and design, entertainment, food and nutrition, healthcare, space technology, waste management, renewable energy, and all things that have to do with AI. Not only will these jobs continue to be needed, but their fields will expand with new leaps of technology. And even as more jobs are replaced with autonomous machines, many things will still require a human touch, and people will continue to value human design and craftsmanship. Education will become more and more accessible in the sense that anyone can get resources for high level of education on the internet. It is just a matter of organizing new systems. And while it is true that drivers, factory workers, field laborers, accountants, and other forms of middle management in white collar industries will be reduced to algorithms, sensors, and robots, in the optimistic vision of the future, our response to these changes will be one of excitement, gratitude, love, and a sense of adventure. The pessimistic or scarcity mindset, on the other hand, sees a future of class struggle in which the wealthy feel the need to hoard their money and invest only in things that serve their own narrow interest, while the middle and the working class feels resentment. And of course, this ill will become a barrier to their own creativity, productivity, upward mobility, and happiness. This mindset says we are doomed. It blames AI and technology for all the world's problems. It is totally fear based and argues that AI is going to make a huge percentage of jobs we take for granted today obsolete. This mindset believes that an AI centric world will result in a cold, unfriendly society where corporate interests desire to make a buck outweigh the individual's basic rights and needs. You don't have to imagine this type of future mindset. So many people today already believe this myth of division and unfairness. So many already feel slighted and forgotten. Fear dominates our news headlines and most of the political rhetoric around the globe, only deepening the divide between rich and poor. The rich constantly feel like their money is taken away to help others, and the poor feel like they are taken advantage of by the rich. No one is happy, everyone is afraid. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can choose your future. I think that we will likely end up somewhere in the middle, somewhere between the optimistic and pessimistic outlooks of the future. There is a constant tension between these two mindsets, and that is why we have the mixed outcome in the world that we see today. But just as we looked at the total of positive and negative outcomes in the civilization, we can clearly see that our well being has been improving on the whole, and even exponentially as time goes on. And all the things that have happened have been a result of the decisions made by people just like you. We really do have the power to choose how we will enter into the future. In terms of your personal money, you have the power to choose how you relate to it. You can have a lot or a little. You can have a happy flow or an unhappy flow. You can make the people around you happy with your money or use money to make people feel miserable. You can choose to take a risk, to set your aim towards your favorite things, or you can choose to try to avoid risk, to stay safe, to cling to what you have and what you know. But whichever outlook you choose, you will find it reflected back to you. Therefore, it is up to you. And your choices will affect not only your future, but the future of your family and that of the people around you. If you're happy with money and life, you can expand the conditions of happiness to those around you. In order for you to expand, you have to begin with the limits of your own being. That is, to have a good relationship with your money and to create the flow of happy money in the areas that you are responsible for. If you can do that, the ripple effect of happy money will touch many people around you. Once people see how fun it is to live in the flow of happy money, they will try to create their own best versions of happy money too. You can start the wave that ripples through everyone's lives right now. It is easy to start. Just say thank you when the money comes in and say thank you again when it goes out. You will feel different in everyday life once you start this flow by yourself. When others do the same with you, you will feel connected to them. What is important to you? When asked this question, most of us will say family and friends. Those are good answers, but let me ask the question again, a little differently this time. What would someone watching you say is important to you based on the way you act in your daily life? We all talk about some lofty values, but our real values show themselves in the way we act every day. Where and how you spend your time and energy is what is important to you. So now I ask you again, what is important to you? Maybe it is time to reconsider what is important to you. This is a great first step for joining the flow of happy money. People who are clear about their values know what they are thankful for, and that in turn serves as a guiding force through all of what life can throw you. You might have heard advice like always work hard with a smile, even if it is for a low wage and you don't love it, because you never know who's watching. People get recognized for their talent and passion all the time. Yet, I think this is the sort of message that a lot of people become tired of hearing. Because so many people never get that lucky chance, even though they feel like they're working so hard. And I let you in on a little secret. It isn't chance that gets you closer to the things you want, it's intentional gratitude. People who express gratitude often and consistently for what they have are the people who end up taking responsibility for their own happiness. They have a heart that always is saying thank you. And so when it comes time to act, they are responsible, or as I like to think of it, responsible. They have the ability to respond. They can navigate through the times of suffering. They can also really enjoy the good times. They're able to be honest with themselves and others because they aren't hiding from anything. They do their jobs with sincerity because they're actually sincere. A person like that is destined to create opportunities in their life. It is just a matter of time and the way it happens. It's not upon chance. It's not up to someone else. It's simply one's own responsibility to be grateful for what they have and be able to seize opportunities as they arise. When you're mired in self pity and you believe you have no responsibility for your own success, that it is up to chance or someone discovering you, then you are destined to be unhappy. Without gratitude, happiness is all but impossible. The emotional state of the future depends on a willingness to inherit the abundance available to us and a willingness to take responsibility for the challenge. If we do this, our world will become charged with positive energy, and so will our money. Happy money will change your family. It is one thing to be at peace with yourself about money, which in itself isn't always such an easy thing to do. But as we have been discussing, expressing gratitude and being in the present moment create the conditions of happy money. Still, life isn't lived solo. You have a family or a partner, and they have emotions towards money too. They are playing their own money game. And as most of us know, our different ideas about money can and do collide, and usually with distressing consequences. What I've learned over years of counseling families about money is that honesty is the absolute priority for creating a system of happy money within a family. Parents usually hide their financial situation from their kids and just tell them something like, when you're older, you will understand how hard life is. The problem with this is that it prolongs the immaturity of your children. If you treat children as if they are naive, they will continue to be naive children and will always be asking why they can't do this or that. Everything will be unfair to them. But if you treat your children like adults, they will respond to that. If you tell them about more about money, what it takes for you to make it, what kind of bills you have, how you're planning to spend or save, they will gradually start to relate to you. They will start to act like little other adults who are responsible for their family situation. The families I've seen that are the happiest are very transparent about money and other things too with their children. The same goes for the relationship between couples. Even though the members of couple are both adults, sometimes one partner will treat the other like a child who doesn't need to know or doesn't have the capacity to understand their financial situation. Or maybe they aren't transparent because they fear having a fight. Maybe they're trying to cover up their mistake. This is why honesty is just so incredibly important. The flow of money, happy money, can cross generations. We are so used to the myth of scarcity and the winner take all mentality that when we experience a true act of generosity, it can really stick with us. It is so special that it has the power to change life. Even the word arigato in Japanese literally means difficult to be. So when we say arigato to someone, we are complimenting them for making such a difficult and special gesture. Once I heard a story about a man whose grandfather was a very successful businessman. He was generous, and the people whom he touched respected and loved him. But as is often the case, his grandson was spoiled and didn't have a sense of business, and he went bankrupt and lost all the money and the estate that his grandfather had built. The grandson and his family were forced to move into a small apartment. One day he was visited by a stranger who looked very old. The stranger explained to the grandson that when he was a boy, he had been an orphan. But because of the generosity of man's grandfather, he was given a job. He also recalled being given sukiyaki, a traditional Japanese dinner served in a hot pot at the grandfather's home. It always made the stranger smile to think of the warm and delicious meals, not to mention the friendship and generosity shown to him by the man's grandfather. Your grandfather was always so kind to me. He taught me everything about business and life. Consequently, I owe all success I've enjoyed in life to your wonderful grandfather. The grandson was taken aback. So, what business do you have with me? He asked. The stranger explained, I heard about your financial situation and I searched for you. I would like to give you this as a gesture of my appreciation for all the kindness your grandfather showed me. The stranger then proceeded to hand him a big package, which included a sukiyaki set for his family. Later, after they had pulled the large pot out of the box to make dinner, his children found an envelope at the bottom of the box. In the envelope was a check large enough to cover the cost of a house. Attached to the check was a brief memo. Please use this money to restore life to your family. The once ungrateful and spoiled grandson was so moved and influenced by this gesture, what we can now call happy money, that he too was transformed. He spent the stranger's money wisely and became very successful. Even 50 years after the fact, the energy of happy money had the power to change lives in a positive way. Find abundance in yourself and security in people, not money.
Do you want to take a break, Garima? Are you getting a
I
little...
just realized that we read all of this last Friday.
Oh,
Yes,
all
I
right.
realized. So I think we were somewhere in the middle of chapter 5. It is my bad, but it's just that it's
Oh.
always a good read. It's so good to read again that you just
No,
enjoy the
if
reading.
you're happy to continue, but I thought maybe since you're reading for so long, you might feel parched.
No, that's fine. But I just that the book is very interesting. It gives you
Yeah.
very positive feeling, at least to me.
Yeah, it does. And I like the idea that he's not saying that everything is happy and golden and everyone's happy. You've got to be somewhere in between the optimist and the pessimist. And, the
Correct.
realist is kind of there. And it's more, I like the part where he talks about it depends on where you're facing to where you are headed. So if you are looking to a future where everything is war and this thing, then that's where you will head. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
that's quite interesting. Like any direction, where you're facing is where you're headed.
I think we can term ourselves as the victim, or we can choose to just go after something good.
Or be the change. If you
Exactly.
think that something's going wrong, why not be that change? Lots of little drops in that, Yeah.
And I don't know about others, but even last time when we read this time again, I like the fact that he talks about being very transparent with your partner, your children, and everyone. And I think as parents, at least in Indian society, we are so for some reason protective with our children that don't talk about money with them. They are too young. They shouldn't feel concerned. It is not about concern. It is about them knowing. And I'll tell you, last week I went to pick up my son from school, and he had not been doing good in school. So his teacher actually told him in front of me that as children, you guys forget the effort your parents put in order to send you guys to school. So you should be very grateful for that. So instead of just running around and creating chaos, think about the effort that it takes for any parent. Although it was not said probably in the right way, but when I was driving back home, I realized that there's no harm in letting my child know that this is the expense. There's
Yeah,
absolutely
and
no harm.
also the struggles. They're actually far more empathetic if we just give them the choice. Give them the chance.
I think we underestimate our children. We become very protective. We underestimate them. कि क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा, they're emotional things, but they are far more emotionally superior to most adults.
They have a
You know,
clarity of it, which is not clouded by all the baggage we gather along the way. As children, they have that clarity. And I can see that. I mean, through this whole money gym and everything, as I'm getting awareness, I can see as I talk about it, they are absorbing. There's this thing going on how to track it. So right from the get-go, that they should track their money, that they should track things which are happening, things like that. Like keep an awareness. I don't think they realize that not all adults track it, not all adults keep it. So the fact that that's a choice is something that they realize. So you start from the beginning, it becomes a habit. Yeah.
And I think another thing that I liked about at least this chapter was somewhere when it talks about aiming, just taking an aim, it is never too late to start. And I think that is one of the things that when I joined, there's like, I think you and me were talking the other day that, sometimes the subconscious will tell me that, oh, you're already late, you can't fix your money life. And then, I put that thought, acknowledge the thought that, okay, it's a fear I have. So I acknowledge you, Mr. Fear, but I don't want that fear to take over me. Right? You have to go ahead and make a conscious effort to say, okay, thank you so much. Park the thought, I'll come back to you later, but go ahead and still do your bit.
Yeah.
So aim to be a better version of yourself, not be compared to anybody else. I think that
everybody's story is different. Everybody has a different point where the change happens. Absolutely. There are people, I mean, Denzel Washington is so successful, but he didn't get his break till he was in his 40s. And Morgan Freeman was a nobody till he was in his 50s. So these are people who've made it big, but it's like only afterwards. There are so many stories. So the thing is that I even discover Women on Wealth only after I was 45 plus, 46. So it's something that comes, but when you decide, that is the starting point for you. And who's to say how long a journey you have left? I may have taken 46 years to get here, but maybe I'll live another 50 years. Who knows? So it can take that long. You hope for the best and be prepared for the worst. That's the best thing to do.
Absolutely.
How about others? What is your take on this? Anyone else? Yeah, Sonika?
Yeah, I haven't read the book, but still came to attend it because, the title really fascinated me. And I'm so learning a lot from the book, especially with the context of my child. I've started implementing it after I did my money gym. It's very little things, I just tell him the important that you need to switch off the lights. You need to switch off the fan when it's not in use. And surprisingly, he's more aware than me. When I forgot to switch off the light, he just reminds me, Mama, bathroom ka light open hai. Please, koi nahi hai, band kar do. Which I take a pride that, okay, my efforts are being fulfilled. And one thing that I'm taking away, if I have 10 rupees, I'll tell my child that I have 4 or 5. I'll never, ever disclose my true financial position. That's my take. Because, I just want to keep him on the ground. Because I've seen many examples that, in my family itself, that the children were not aware of the financial situation. And by the time they came to know about it, it's very difficult for them to accept. So, I'll always let him know if I have 10 rupees, I'll always tell him that I have 5. So you need to plan your whatever and within this only. Because I always, the importance of emergency fund, the pandemic has taught us a lot of things, so I always want to keep that money for my retirement, for my future. I don't want to be dependent on anyone else. My child is not my retirement investment. I want to make it on my own. It's very good.
Have you said that to him? I mean, have you made it clear, at least through your actions, that you are developing yourself? Because I think that's so important. So often you find parents, especially mothers, who make it like a big sacrifice thing, and they make it like a self-sacrificing thing, that now that I've had a child, everything is for the child. But that's not inspiring for the child, to be told that you focus on yourself only till you have a child. Then you don't focus on yourself, you focus on the child. No. When they see you developing things for yourself, when they see that you are giving yourself care, they learn to take care of themselves as well. That they shouldn't be these self-sacrificing things all their life. You have poured so much into them so that they have a good life, not so that they pour so much into someone else in turn as soon as they have a child. So I think it's extremely important as a role model to show that we care for ourselves, that we have our own desires, our ambitions, our own life
outside what it revolves around the child. I think that's just so important. So maybe tell him there is 10 rupees, but 5 rupees is so that you don't have to take care of me. I take care of myself later. This other 5 rupees is for them. Sort of let him know that you're planning for retirement.
Yes, this is although he's too young, he's just 4. But yes, I'm really learning this because when I have my child, I felt I have to give him everything, the best of toys, the best of books, the best of clothes. And then there was just in this candid night conversations, I realized that this is not what is needed. He needs my time. He needs my attention. He will forget that he just plays with the toys and just throws them away. What's the point then? So, this is one thing that I gradually learned, that I don't have to overdo. Just because my childhood, I didn't have so things, I have to just overflow my child with all the luxuries I can afford. It's a wastage of money. So, that's what I'm learning. And yes, I have to be a role model, that I have to take care of myself first, because, I have unconsciously or whatever it is, I used to burden my child that, I'm doing this for you. This is very subconscious. I feel that I'm burdening my child with the sacrifices that I'm making, and I have to rewire that belief system. I have to undo that belief system, that I'm not doing anything for you. I'm just bringing you up. I can give you the best of the education, but you have to follow your own path. You have to create your own path, just like I'm creating my own. I think that I haven't reached there, but yes, I'm on the journey.
Lovely. Life's a journey, Sonika.
And there's no harm. And Indian mothers, hamisha, we are taught ki as give birth and your life is done. Up you focus there. So I think हमारे घर में ना अभी 2 हफ्ते पहले we had a good war, literally a mini war. I told him, I said, see, if you can't get up on time and if I can't drop you to school, then I can't go to the gym and it's very hot. So I need to reach the gym at 8 o'clock max. Otherwise, I get late and then it's very hot. So he was like, acha, but then I have to get up early and blah, blah, blah. All the drama happened. After all that, I realized, I told him, I said, I can't be delayed because of you. So if you're not ready for school, then I am going to go to the gym and you're going to sit at home missing school. So it is important that you realize that I have a life and I need that 1 hour to myself before I come back home and do the regular activities. Because you have your 1 hour of playtime and I don't pull you there. If I respect your playtime, you have to respect my time. So I think, you need to, even if he's 4, I think good, you're starting. Teens mein aur bhi late ho jayega. So I think we're all starting. Every day, wo tha na, the good time to invest is now. So anything you do now is good.
Anyone else who wants to share their insights into this?
Yeah, hi.
Into the book that we are doing, or Seema here? Able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Do you want my insights related to the book or the discussion that we are having? On both, I have.
Whichever.
Okay. Okay. So thanks for bringing out the point. I forgot, I didn't get the name who was speaking earlier to this. Talking about how, who was that?
Sonika.
Sonika. Thanks, Sonika. I think you were, I really kind of, the way you approached it. Yeah, after some time, I think with the kids, a lot of things doesn't work. My daughter is in teens, and then whatever I say, right, like, okay, I'm buying a phone, so I had ordered some bangle, I returned it because I don't want to waste money on that. So possibly they may not understand few things. I mean, it's like a trial and error method. Certain things work, certain things doesn't work. That is my take with respect to the kids. But I really like the point when you said you have 10 rupees and you say that you have 4 or 5, right? And I also appreciate what Kaveri said. Okay, possibly it's also right to say that I have 10 and then I'm reserving 5 for me because I'm independent, and then I want you to be honest. That's what is bringing out in the book. So be honest, say that like I have 10 and then I'm reserving 5 for self, and then you can have a share of 5. So that is something what I never tried. I think I'm going to try that, Kaveri. So that was a nice point, seriously. So far, I was saying that I was very transparent. I mean, either I spend, I have this much I'm spending, and then rest of the things I'm not spending because this is what I have. And then, right? So, no, I am reserving something for self, right? And with respect to the book, I had, one thing what I missed last two sessions. And this time when I joined, one thing what I observed with this book is like it's more of a, he talks a lot about money. It is also going towards very philosophical. I mean, whatever we are talking now, right? It's a mix of money and philosophical things is what my take is here. And in one of the points, what he says is what is important to you, right? Now, so, and he clearly he's asking, so now I ask you again, what is important to you? And he says maybe it is time to reconsider what is really important. This is a great first step for joining a flow of happy money, right? This is the point what struck me. Okay, one. And another thing is we really have the in terms of, he says, okay, it is up to you, and your choices will affect you, not only your future, but the future of your family, the people around you as well, right? This is another point which kind of I'm taking back from this session today, right? So these are the 2 points what I made a note of, and then I'm taking
Thank you so
back
much.
as a learning.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. You had the points already and everything to share. How lovely.
No, I just took a screenshot of those things because I was not writing.
Right. Avni, you wanted to share something. We'll go to that. And then maybe we'll wrap up this book with maybe Garima, you can summarize what you got from the book, because we have an important announcement of a new book to start from next week. So, yeah, Avni, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, Kaveri. The book, I haven't read it all. The only reading done in the session, I'm going through it. Today, my takeaway is the transparency thing. Whatever age it is, you being a child, you being an adult, or talking to your parents, if there is transparency, the energy or the power of money changes and it affects the entire family. So, yes, I feel my approach towards money is going to change from today. The way I talk about it with the family is going to change. Whatever I took away from the session today on this chapter, I will surely take it to my parents. So even they understand that money has its own energy and it affects the entire family. And it takes it to the generations just the way the story mentioned.
Lovely.
I
Thank
just
you.
want to summarize Kaveri, the book, and I know actually, I think I also missed it. We have read quite a portion last Friday, and we were hoping to wrap the book this
Right.
Friday. So I just want to, I think all of us and some of us have not started the book. So, feel free to pick it up on your own casual reading time as well. But just to summarize, Kaveri, I'll share my screen. These, 3, 4 lines are a good conclusion coming from the author himself. And then maybe we can move on to see what do we have ahead for us.
Yeah.
So as he says, you have the freedom to choose your life. You can do whatever you want. Do not let money stop you. And most often than not, my experience, it is our own belief system that holds you back from achieving your best potential. Because I meet so many people, so many women who say ki because I was not given this, or because I did not go to this particular college, I couldn't, do it. I think that is all the excuses we keep telling ourselves, but we need to stop telling ourselves that excuse. So please go ahead and be free, make a decision, push forward with it, and don't wait for somebody to find you or spot you. You have to ensure that you are there at the right time doing your bit sincerely, and things will start to fall in place. So I think that's the only way I can summarize the book. And of course, grateful that we read the book together, and ever grateful for all the money that we get in our life and the money we send out. So it's good to be able to do that.
Thank you so much, Garima. And I would add to that saying, I wouldn't have believed this about 4 or 5 months ago, because I believed that being an artist, being a thing, I'm bound to struggle. My whole life, money is going to be a problem always. And I had resigned myself to that all these years. And so therefore it was a problem. I don't know what got me to join Money Gym. I don't know what that change was. I think it was, I mean, I must say a big thank you to Ashima. She's not here in the Money Book Club, but she's been a friend of mine for over 20 years. And I know that she struggles the same way I do. And for her to say, hey, I'm getting a handle on my finances, was a big wake up to me, saying, if she can do it, I can do it. I mean, it may not be alien concept. And I took the plunge. I actually got into the Money Gym. And the minute I told my money where to go, there was more money coming in. The minute I had this attitude that, yes, I am going to get money and I am going to put it into these investments, I have my plan, I have my thing, it starts falling into place, because it isn't just floating around you and going away. It's actually got direction. And this whole thing of taking charge and giving direction it really resonates with me now. Yeah, really, it has been life-changing to know that I can still be an artist. I can still be a creator. I can do all of that. I can be a creative person. I don't have to sell my soul to the devil, and I don't have to join a corporate, but I can still have enough. I can still have ample. I can still have abundance. That concept is something that I'm learning now, and it resonates because of this book. And going from that, for a beginner's guide, since I don't have a screen share, I'm going to just turn my camera the other way and show you, announce the next book we're reading, which is The Financial Diet. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. It says it's a total beginner's guide to getting good with money. So that's there on the library. And that's the next book we're going to start reading. And if we want, for like 2 minutes, we can just start off in the beginning chapter. I won't be able to share my screen, but I can read like it's a mystery to you what I'm reading from the library. So here goes. And then my laptop freezes. Today's being very unfortunate.
It's there in the book club, is it?
Yeah, it's
online?
in the book club library. You have it there?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Where is this?
The Financial Diet, it'll say. So I'm just going to start with the beginning, which is like a prologue. Just going to read one paragraph before we all decide we're going to read the first chapters on our own and come back next term. I'm saying next week. Yeah. Okay. I graduated from high school when I was 17 years old. The subprime mortgage crisis hadn't yet happened, and it was a very good time to be a teenager who was irresponsible with money. When bankers weren't standing on the roof of their branches and throwing loans at anyone who walked by, they were going into the high schools and finding unsuspecting teens to ask them if they wanted a credit card. And looking back, when you compare the potential implications of a starter credit card to the student loans those same kids were signing on to, getting a visa with a $500 limit was probably the least of their worries. But still, handing out a credit card to someone whose primary life skills, education, came from episodes of Degrassi still seems pretty cruel. Of course, we all wanted free money, and of course, we were all going to pay it back on time. We were teenagers and had zero concept of fiscal responsibility, and every interest in instant gratification. I was definitely one of those teenagers. The day I turned 18, I acquired my little card full of free money and maxed it out within a month and a half of delirious spending. Once swiping it no longer provided me with the sweet, sweet Forever 21 dresses my body craved. I tossed that bad boy into the garbage and ignored the increasingly urgent notices that arrived in the mail. After all, I had a savings account with thousands of dollars from my summer jobs to blow through. You couldn't touch teenage Chelsea. Okay, I'm going to stop there. And this is the next book, and Sheetal had shared that. So it's there on the online book book club. And if anybody wants access who's here on the Zoom today and hasn't quite taken access yet, Garima, I think you're still sharing your screen. I can see
Sorry,
this.
I forgot.
Yeah. So if you haven't yet taken access, please reach out to Sheetal and she'll grant you access. And it's there in the Money Book Club. It's called A Financial Diet. And it sounds like it's going to be a pretty interesting read. And if almost every teenager and everybody who's decided, oh, I can max out credit cards, it's resonating so far. So this is one of the reasons why I stopped having a credit card, because I realized I was spending money I didn't have. So, yeah. So if you go back to the Money Book Club, you'll find it's there. And maybe we can say we'll read till it doesn't seem to have page numbers. But the agony and ecstasy of cleaning out your closet is there. Let's say we read the first chapter. Yeah.
Yeah, we can start with chapter 1.
Yeah.
And then we can pick up the pace when we meet next then.
Right. Yeah. All right. But please continue to share on the group, share what your learnings from Mr. Ken Honda so far has been. And then let's get going on the new book. Exciting. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for turning up. If there's anything anyone else wants to add before we log off. I'm on my phone, so I have to keep swiping to see people's faces. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Garima, for supporting. And thank you, everyone, for turning up here. You could have been anywhere else today, but you chose to be here, and we're grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.